top 8. So this is whoever wins this game, like I said, gets into the Ladder Cup finals and gets a chance to win $250 from a $400 prize pool. That might just grow bigger. Just throwing that out there, people. If you want to contribute to the prize pool of the grand finals of the Ladder Cup, we are open for donations. So just head over to starbowmod.com and look at the news item, and that's a post about this tournament. And I think there's a donation link there for if you want to contribute. Just throwing that out there. So we got RSVP, gonna go for a low ground pylon. First time in this series, actually. Well, this is a new series technically, but in the last games we've been seeing now. In the meantime, Franscar is...
No, shut up. Spawning in the bottom left corner of the map. He's blue, he's Protoss, he's RSVP.
I forgot introductions in the top right corner. Always green, always cool, always slimy. It's Franscar.
I was spinning my camera around the whole time you're talking, like waiting for the intro. It's like, no, we're not cutting the intros out. Fuck that.
Oh, hang on. Are you observing or are you following my camera?
I'm observing right now.
Okay, I should follow your camera. I should follow your camera then. Yeah, did you do that last game too? Observe?
Yeah.
Okay, I should have followed your camera then, because I was probably commentating on stuff that people weren't seeing. Okay, so I'll just no hands on the keyboard or anything. I'll just talk. I'm really good at that, just chatting quite a bit. I'm a math teacher, so if it ever gets a little bit dull, I can talk about interesting things like group theory or integrals or things like that. So I know you're all getting like, ooh, he's going to talk about math. This is going to be exciting, but just hang on. I might have to talk about I might have to talk about the game once in a while. But I'm a math teacher, so I know from my students' point of view how exciting math can be, and they're all like so eager to hear me talking. Some of them sometimes rest their head on their desks just to listen better. So yeah, we have RSVP going for the shenanigans again. He's going to try and do some cannon rushing. In the meantime, he's desperately trying to get a Nexus up, chasing that drone away, and he has the money to do it. So you rarely have the money to both get a Nexus up and cannon rush, but RSVP somehow does that. He comes from a rich family and he has more funds than most people. I think it's just a big old fake, yeah. I don't think there was a good position there you could cannon rush, especially not with the pylon placed the way he did right there. So just forcing out Zerglings to kill it, I guess. But we are going to see a fairly standard game now from RSVP, which is interesting because both of his other games he's been doing non-standard stuff for Zerg vs Protoss and Starbow, and it turned out really well. So it might be a little bit dangerous to play into something that's fairly standard that Franscar is more comfortable with, to be honest. I would have kind of liked to see that first build he did again. Franscar in this position would not have been able to punish it as he... Well, maybe he would. He could go for a quick Hydra bust off 2 base, but he's actually getting a couple of... yeah, he's getting a 3rd base really quickly as well, like he likes to do, and RSVP is going to scout it. So that's very important, and again, information for RSVP, because then he knows there's not a very quick Hydra busting coming. What's a little bit difficult on this map though is figuring out where to expand and finding the expansions, because you pretty much have 2 bases that serve as 3rd bases. This map looks completely symmetrical. Yay, polynomials! Yeah, I get distracted by these things. This map looks completely symmetrical, but it's actually not, because all the bases on the bottom side of the map are much easier to defend than the top side of the map. They have much narrower chokes. They're only like 1 pylon wide. If Rift can show us how narrow the bottom expansion chokes are. There you go. Look at that. Very, very narrow. But while on the top side of the map, they're more wide. So, yeah, there you go. They're more wide. Very, very nice pan shots. Very nice. You should just be a professional observer for like GSL and stuff. And if you ever want to know what it's like to be on a merry-go-round, was pretty much what you were seeing right there. Anyhow, Franscar going for a lot of Zerglings. We're gonna have the +1 Zealots again. It's pretty normal. They're not gonna have speed yet, but there is a Twilight Council incoming, so not gonna be some fast Corsairs this time. It's gonna go back to, I think, what he likes the most. Lair gonna be on the natural base. That's really weird. But I don't really know why he would do that. Maybe he was making like a queen at his main when he wanted to make a lair, and he just chose to put it there. Hopefully it doesn't lose it. We're gonna have Hydralisk again. It seems to work better for Franscar with Hydras than Mutas versus RSVP. Although, When I say working better, he still didn't win last game, but he got a lot closer than he did the first game, I would say.
Why does it say nurturing swarm dummy?
Where?
Like when you click on it, it says nurturing swarm dummy.
Click on what?
Like click on the Hydroden and look at the buff it has. Click it. It says nurturing swarm dummy.
That's because it only shows that for you. No, I'm just kidding. No, but that's because this is kind of hard to explain actually. But in the map editor, you a lot of times you have to make actual effects, and then you have to make dummy effects just to show the visuals. And every effect you make actually generates a little thing like that, and you have to remove it. And if you forget to remove it, you get like stupid names on it. Like the carriers right now have like an effect from the triggers that we forgot to remove the text on. So every time you click a carrier that's moving, it says the carrier is moving on it, because it has an effect while it's moving that's being applied, but we didn't remove the actual, text. If that makes any sense. So that was a very technically and long answer to a very short and cute question, so I'm sorry about that. But we have some zealots out on the map. They're gonna get surrounded by zerglings. No, they'll be fine. Well, almost dead, but alive, I guess. Kind of like Rifkin at this time. But we got lurkers incoming. We have stalkers on the way. Templar tech on the way. So I like the mid game that RSVP is going for with the stalkers. Not a lot of Protosses do that versus Zerg anymore. It's not going to be as effective as it was, I think, just because the lurkers are already out, and lurkers are really good versus stalkers. So hopefully he's going to switch into dragoons, or at least focus on those Templar. Man, it's just so comical to see stalkers trying to kill an overlord. Look at that, it just takes forever. They're eventually going to do it because the overlords are just so slow. But yeah, man, that just took forever. In the meantime, a couple of zealots that were doing pretty poorly are going to do horribly now, as the lurkers are just going to kill them. So they're going to have to get out of there. It's kind of hard to follow what's happening in the middle of the map because there's so many critters everywhere. And man, that panning action from Rifkin is awesome. Getting to close-ups of all the action, it's awesome. So Lurkerden is finished, of course. We have Aspiring coming. This is actually going to be really good for Franscar. If he can get a group of... This is a good time to get a group of Mutalisks out to try, because the Templar tech was on the way. Let's see. No, he didn't actually upgrade the Storm yet at all. He just made the building. It's kind of odd that he... it's been there for quite a while now. I've been following the production tab, but he's getting Observer Evade, or a Face Shield, I guess it's called now. Yeah, it's had several names. Yeah, it's a Face Shield. The Face Shield... first of all, this was from the newest patch. We combined both of the Observer upgrades. They had two upgrades usually, one for speed and one for the Face Shield, and now it's just Face Shield that also gives speed. And because two upgrades for such a unit, such a niche unit, is kind of weird. But he's gonna clean up that lurker easy peasy. No contain this time, Franscar. But the Face Shield makes it so once the Observer activates the Face Shield, the Observer won't be auto-targeted anymore. You have to actually manually target an observer to kill it. It doesn't last forever. It lasts for like 20 seconds, I think. It has a cooldown of like 40 seconds or so. But it's really nice to get that extra scouting information. Very nice choke point there for Franscar to defend. Sad it's only one lurker though, but here's more lurkers. And this is a very nice place to fight for Franscar. And he's gonna funnel in a lot of units and do a lot of damage. And yeah, RSVP is gonna lose everything. Wow! I don't think he lost much more than the lurker there and some Zerglings. That was a really nice engagement for Franscar. And Franscar, he's looking pretty good now. He's getting his third base before his opponent for once. And he might be able to deny this again. And I don't know, RCP playing so standard now might just come to bite him. He did kill off those initial lurkers. That was really good, but he did lose again that whole army. That was a very bad engagement for RCP. And he might have to sacrifice his third base as a result, because he doesn't really have any units to defend here anymore. He's getting Storm finally, he's getting some High Templars. He's probably getting a little bit tired too, because they've been playing for a long time now, and RCP had to play a lot in the Lucius bracket too, and that's a lot of best of ones actually, so it's not that tiresome. But there's more games in general though. Or more matches, I guess, to use the correct terminology. Hydra speed on the way, a little bit earlier than last time. That big Ursatron not attacking the lurkers, so making Rifkin a little bit sad. But those lurkers are going to deny this base for quite some time. We see Franscar taking a fourth base as well, while denying his opponent's third. So this is going to be incredibly difficult for RSVP to come back from. And Franscar only needs to win this game to win the whole tournament, actually, as he was in the winner's bracket. So we got a big attacking coming for Franscar, for Franscar, and I don't. Well, he's gonna try and deny the third yet again. I don't know if this is as necessary as it was before, as he's taken his fourth base already, and I think RSVP's got enough units to hold this now. Just needs to make sure the observer stays alive. Wow, that observer is so low on health, and here comes the Scourges that it doesn't even need. That's like 110 damage to kill 5 life, but whatever. Does he have... Okay, he's got several observers all over the place. Some of them are in very poor positions though, but he should be able to just attack this. It's not a very cost-effective engagement for him because he has to funnel out of that one base. And this is kind of the backside of attacking, or the... Yeah, the backside, I don't know if that's the right word, but it's the... Yeah, I'm just gonna say backside of attacking out of taking that base down there at the bottom of the map, because... yes, you can defend more easily with the choke, but you also can get yourself stuck in there and contain much more easily as well. And here we go, he's going to try and get out of the choke, he's going to try and surround this from all sides. I think it should be just fine, he has enough units to do this. It's just not a very favorable engagement for him, and he kills so many observers. He killed all the observers yet again. Oh, it's got to be so annoying for RSVP. A couple lurkers are just going to do so much damage and deny this. Archon? Maybe not. Archon gets away with almost nothing. There we go, a bad deal for the Archon, but he's alive. And in the meantime, RSVP is actually going to try and go for a fourth. That's a little bit sneaky. I don't think Franscar knows about this, and that's a base he could much more easily shut down if he had to. But if we look at the income tab right now, they are Franscar is a little bit ahead. He's behind on workers, but he's ahead on income, and that's the beauty of Starbow and how the economy system works, because just because he has more bases. A ton of Zerglings incoming. They're pushing each other left and right and having a hard time going through the chokes, but they're just going to go and attack the natural. I think, yeah, there they are. The Zerglings going through the main base, actually, just easy peasy for breezy. A couple of Zealots are gonna spawn on Dragoons, actually, and we got another group of Zerglings gonna try and go for the third base. I like this multi-pronged harass, but I also like how RSVP doesn't do like some of the other players, but splits up his army and try to defend everywhere. Although it's a little bit difficult to manage both at the same time. If you look at the main bases, just picking off parts of the units at the time, and then some other lazy units are standing back there, like county workers trying to dig a hole in the road. But there we go, they're all pulling it out at the same time. And RSVP is gonna stabilize. He's ahead of his opponent in supply. What did I just say there? He's ahead of his opponent in supply. That's what I meant to say. I said something else that sounded really weird. We got Ultralisk and Karen though already here with Consume, with Defilers. Franscar is ready for that hive tech. This is an epic final match now. They're all like gathering their forces, gathering everything. It's like the Battle of Middle Earth. They're gonna meet in the middle where all the creatures are. They're gonna have to battle around the animals before the flood comes in and the Noah's Ark is gonna take off. And RSVP is just clearing out everything. He wants to be able to expand everywhere. He's got a nice group of units here ready to defend this fourth base now, and these Zergling run by is going to do nothing. Like, absolutely nothing. It did, like, killed some shield off of a couple of Zealots. In the meantime, there's another group of units on the bottom side. It's going to kill our lurkers, that is, but some nice Dark Swarm here. A lot of Zealots, Zerglings, I mean, and he might have to recall out of there. I mean, Rift. I can't talk today, whatever. Yeah, he should Rift out of there. Tries to do a little bit of damage, but Zerglings versus Dragoons, not the best deal for Dragoons. But here comes the Zealots, here comes the rest of the army. Gonna meet up in the middle, gonna try and deal some damage, but he's kind of indecisive. He's just leaving a couple of Zealots to die there. It's gonna be one with nature. Is it just me, or is there like a lot of bumps on the nature part of the map, like ups and downs? Kind of looks like it, which is cool, but yeah, this is not all flat at all. He's done a good job with the bump. The bump tool on the map editor is so hard to use to make like good like ups and downs without making it look weird. Oh, there's a drop, but it's dangerously close to the army of RSVP. Okay, there we go. It's like, I need to stare in another direction. I feel like a dropship with Overlord is kind of like a ship that's sailing. Like, oh, hard barbor or harbor or whatever the terminology is. I don't know left and right when it comes to shipping for English. I know the Norwegian terminology, but it's kind of how it feels. It's like Titanic there. He's trying not to sink. But he's going to drop out again. He has to go back to defend versus this army of RSVP, which is kind of stuck a little bit on the side there. He's going to just move back the very defensive defilers. And this map may have some flaws when it comes to, like, there's so many ridges and there's so many chokes, and we talked about this during the map making tournament. But right now, in this state of the game, where you have all this expansion and you have all these ridges and places to defend, just like moving lurkers from ridge to ridge with Dark Swarm, this feels like this is the way the map was supposed to be played. And oh, big plague! Plagu on the Dragoons! That was a huge plague, and I think Franscar is going to hold this position now, and RSVP is going to have to find another position. The force fields on the map not doing anything to block anything. A lot of Ultralisk going to greet some very damaged Dragoons. They've both been physically and mentally damaged from that plague, and gonna zone out the units with a couple of storms. In the meantime, though, RSVP is attacking the 4th base of Franscar, and he might do a lot of damage over there. Franscar doesn't have that many Zerglings now to go and defend. He has Ultralisks, but they use a little bit more time. And it's going to drop in the meantime. Man, this game is everywhere at the same time. He needs to focus on the hatchery, though, and if he can actually kill some economy. Sending out a couple of Zealots to make sure they can't come home too fast. The drop is incoming on the 4th base. And Franscar did clean up the base on the top middle part of the map. So Franscar is incoming with the drop, and he's cleaning up these units. I don't know if he can, actually. That's only 4 Ultralisks, and there's a big army of RSVP is still on that side of the map, but RSVP is definitely going to lose this base. There's nothing you can do to defend this. Adrenal Blast is out. All the upgrades for the Ultralisks, and they're actually 2-2 as well. So what is RSVP doing? He's trying to pull back. It's almost useless to pull back. He's kind of got one group in the middle, and he's got one group coming from his natural. In the meantime, though, Franscar is going to try and attack the other base of... No, never mind. But there's an engagement in the middle of the map. Some nice storms going off there, but he's just going to surround these Dragoons and kill them. Can he rift them out in time? No, they're just going to die. So Franscar actually getting back into this game. He's almost got the same supply. He's getting dropped in the main base as well, RSVP is, and the Dark Templar is there to greet them. That's going to take a while, though, and he's actually very smartly spawning an Overseer right away. And RSVP is going to be pulled in every which direction. If there's one game RSVP should not lose, it's this one, because this is the deciding factor, and I think Franscar just did this. I think he might be able to... As I say that, he's getting chased away. But he's going to do a lot of damage in the main base, though. Maybe not. Maybe not. This game is still very open. It can still swing either way. The supplies are very similar. I think RSVP has the bigger army, and Franscar has the bigger income at the moment. Definitely the bigger income. But RSVP is just expanding northward instead. And he's moving out with a nice group at the top part of the arc. Picking off a couple of defilers, very nice move there. They could have maybe gotten a plague off or something, I don't know. And the Ultralisks are being saved. Nice storm there. Actually some really good storms. It doesn't do too much versus Ultralisks, but it does thin out the Zerglings, which are kind of working as a buffer for, or more like a damage dealer. The Ultras are the buffer, the Zerglings deal the damage. Although the Ultras do deal a good share of damage themselves as well. And this small group of Franscar, well, they're not that big group, but they're actually could kill another base as well. RSVP doesn't really have that much of an army anymore, and for the first time in this game, I think RSVP is behind in supply now. Franscar is slowly making his way back into this game. He's getting a lot of expansions of his own while he's killing RSVP's expansions, and RSVP can't really do anything about it, and he has 65 probes on one base. What? That's crazy. How many probes does he have? He has 74 probes. He needs to stop making probes. That's a lot of probes for SE2 standards. That's pretty much like when you have 74 probes, you stop making probes in StarCraft 2, right? I haven't played StarCraft 2 in a while, but for Starbow, that's like a ton of workers, and especially off of one base. That's definitely a complete saturation, I would say. Actually, more than half of those probes aren't contributing to anything of that income. Got a couple of Dark Templars out, but I think this is it. Unfortunately for RSVP, playing a couple of really good games versus Franscar winning, this is the game he might lose, and this will make sure that Franscar actually wins the tournament as well. We're not done yet, though. RSVP can muster up one last army, and if he gets some really nice storms, gets some really good engagements, he could power his way through Franscar. It's gonna be hard, but he can get himself up. He can definitely get enough resources to be maxed, and then try and do a big push, because Franscar can get a big army, but he can't get more than a maxed army. Although RSVP has a lot of his supply in workers, though. And here we go. Franscar's going to try and go for it. He's going to try and surround and attack this. He doesn't really need to at the moment. RSVP doesn't really have an edge right now. It's Franscar who has the edge. And we're going to have some Consume, some more Dark Swarm maybe a Plague. RSVP sending out a Dark Templar, though. Let's see if he can do anything with that. I don't think he can. I think there's pretty good detection on all these bases. And we see random shots of observers. Oh, nice Plague though from Franscar, and I don't think he can hold this. And even if he can, I don't think he can get back into this game from this point. RSVP fighting with his might. A lot of Archons though, and Archons do really well versus Ultralists. So he's gonna chase this back. The Dark Templar did go to the top part of the map, it seems, killing an Extractor. Man, what is it with Protoss players and killing Extractors in this game? He's gonna attack him with drones. That's crazy. Or not. Here, have some drones. You're just killing an Extractor. You need to be killing drones. I'll show you how it's done. But in the meantime, Franscar is coming in with a nice drop again. It's gonna be harder and harder for RSVP to defend these drops, because he has fewer and fewer units and less income. And every time he has to pull back his army, he's leaving his expansions vulnerable, and that's exactly what Franscar is going for. Ooh, killing a couple of High Templars, but here we go. Franscar again is going to try and kill this one base at the top. RSVP looks that he will clean up this quite easily, the drop in the main, and he seems to be chasing back everything at the moment. RSVP back on being ahead in supply, but most of that supply lead is in workers though, so when it comes to army supply, they're about the same. Franscar is actually a little bit ahead. And Franscar is also ahead in the upgrade race. That's actually very important. He has 3-3 now, while RSVP only has 2-1. And RSVP right now has a very hard time doing economic damage to his opponent. He can defend fairly well because of all the chokes in this map, and because of all the AoE he has with the Archons and the High Templars, but he can't really do any damage to his opponent. So it's just gonna be a very slow death, unless he can figure out something. RSVP actually got supply block there too. Okay, they've got a lot of Zerglings, it seems, moving into the main base of... oh no, that's Zerglings and High Templars. Very nice position on those Zealots, though, and he's going to clean that up, but in the meantime, they're going to move over to this expansion and they're going to try and kill that instead. And RSVP is just defending and defending and defending, but how long can he defend? And it seems like it's going to be a long time. And yeah, again, he's going to clean it up. They're outside of the swarm, they can take a lot of damage from the Archons. The Archons in the swarm only deal splash damage, but they do deal that splash damage. And RSVP might have a tiny window now. He's got a little bit more supply than his opponent when it comes to army. It's called army supply for short. And he's splitting up his units actually to attack. I don't know if that's a good idea. He's got a couple of goons and an Archon and Dark Templar there, and at the bottom side he's trying to clear that out so he can eventually expand there. And he has, so you can just use that army for something else. I don't know if this was the best move from RSVP, to be honest. If he wanted to go for like... If he wanted to kill like one expansion or do something like that, then he should have had his army all together. And now he's got nothing to defend anymore. This is it, I think. He has to get his whole army back from the far corners of the land to defend his heavily oversaturated base. He could actually pull some probes and kill his whole army. I think he's got so many of them. But there goes the base, goes down, and he used some money. He doesn't have enough to make any nexus now. Well, he's distance mining, so I guess he could build that up again. But yeah, this is pretty much it. He doesn't have any reliable income source anymore. He's just distant mining with a ton of workers. So I think this is it. I think Franscar is the champion of the first qualifier and basically has secured himself a spot at the final event, which will happen sometime in August, I think. Also, RSVP though, getting a lot of ladder credits from getting second place, will probably also secure himself a spot there as well. But he might have to fight for it a little bit more, depending on how the other ladder cups go and how many players that played here will be there as well. And there we have it. GG, Franscar is the champion of the Starbow Ladder Cup Qualifier 1.